Shalom, I'm Chaim Ben Pesach from the Jewish Task Force. This week we're going to discuss how to solve the crisis on Israel's northern border. Because of the Hezbollah terrorists on Israel's northern border with Lebanon, Israel's losing the whole northern part of the state. The Galil in the whole northern part of the state is being lost. Hundreds of thousands of Jews are displaced because of the endless shelling from the north and the threat from the north. There is such an obvious and easy solution if only we had true, courageous, right-wing Zionist leadership in Israel. And we're going to tell you what that solution is. The solution is that Lebanese leave Lebanon and that Israel take over Lebanon, which is part of the land of Israel, part of the biblical land of Israel. We're going to tell you why that's such a realistic plan. Listen to what we have to say, and you yourself can decide if you think that what we're saying is realistic after you hear the facts and statistics that we're going to bring to you. But before we get to that, this program is dedicated to a refuah shlema, complete recovery, for Ron ben Margarita, Liad bat Shifra, Shlomo ben Sarah, Ruth bat Sarah, Dorit bat Sarah, Ruven ben Shoshana, and Ashedina bat Violet, and to Ilui Neshamot, elevating of the souls, for Sharon Mitman, Malka bat Meir, Allegra bat Shlomo, Daniel Nankin, Victor Chazdai, Pesach Zeh ben Dov, Lunita Adler, Shifra Hoffman, Ruven Hoffman, Barry Hoffman, Rab Mir Kahana, Rab Binyamin Kahana, Tzipora Fegi bat Liba, Yosef ben Meir, Robert Mittman, Dennis Shore, Helen Friedman, Charles Zolat, Yair Levine, Rachel D., and David ben Abraham. We have a crisis that has been a part of Israel's history now, in that the Hezbollah Islamic terrorists in Lebanon pose a constant threat to Israel's very survival. They, together with the Iranians, put together an arsenal of hundreds of thousands of rockets and missiles to fire at Israel. Now, Israel destroyed most of them in the war, Baruch Hashem, thank God, but they still have thousands, and they're still raining terror on the people of Israel. And northern Israel still lives in tremendous insecurity, and we're going to lose northern Israel. We're going to lose the whole north of the country. A huge chunk of the state of Israel we're just going to lose, and Israel's very small. Israel can't afford to lose even a single inch. And we're going to lose the whole thing if this continues. Either we get them out or they're going to get us out. Hundreds of thousands of Jews will be displaced. We'll lose the Galil. The Galil means Galilee region of Israel. We'll lose that whole area, God forbid. And Israel's very survival will be in grave danger. There is only one solution. There's only one way to stop this. The Arabs who live in Lebanon have to immigrate out of Lebanon. They want to go. That's the good news. Almost all of them want to leave. Who the hell would want to live in Lebanon? Lebanon is a hellhole. Pretty much all the Muslim countries are hellholes. But Lebanon is really, really a horrific place where hundreds of thousands of Arabs have been slaughtered by their fellow Arabs in endless civil wars, and just massacres and drug dealing and gangs and rape and mass murder, and a horror, which is par for the course in Islamic countries. That's what happens in Islamic countries. That's part of the beauty of the Islamic culture that we see. In 57 Muslim countries, the Muslims are constantly slaughtering their fellow Muslims. When they don't have non-Muslim infidels to slaughter, they slaughter each other. In any event, that has been happening in Lebanon now for many, many years. And we're going to explain to you what the result has been. But first of all, let's understand something. Lebanon is not a real country. It was created by France in the last century. Lebanon is not a real country. The reason Lebanon was created was to carve out a section of the Middle East for the Christians, because then you had a Christian majority in Lebanon at one time. Today, the Christians are a minority in Lebanon because the Muslims have a much larger birth rate than the Christians. But the Christians were the majority, and the French said, we can't leave Christians here. We're going to leave Syria, and we're going to leave Syria, and we're going to leave the Middle East, and we're going to leave the Christians here. The Christians here are going to be slaughtered by the Muslims. The Muslims don't tolerate non-Muslim infidels, and they hate Christians. They hate Jews, they hate Christians, they hate the non-Muslim infidels. They'll slaughter the Christians. That's what the French said. So the French said, we're going to carve out a country called Lebanon, which will be a Christian majority country. And there's a Muslim minority there, and there'll be an arrangement between them You have a Christian president and a Muslim prime minister, and so on. A relationship that of course, that never worked. It can't work with Islamic with Islamic fanaticism. That can't work. But anyway, that was what the French plan was. So they created a country called Lebanon, but it was never a country that existed. It never was a legitimate country. There was never a country historically. There's no historic basis for a country called Lebanon. This is a creation of the French colonialists. It's not a country based upon reality. And in Lebanon, you have all these Arab tribes and clans, but there is no such thing as the Lebanese people. There's no Lebanese people. No such thing as that. The Lebanese are so different from each other and hate each other with such passion and murder each other all the time. There is no Lebanese people. There are dozens of different clans and gangs and factions that are constantly killing each other. That's Lebanon. And almost everybody there wants to leave. There are 4.5 million people live in Lebanon. Okay. Israel is now in southern Lebanon. The Israeli troops are still in southern Lebanon, although the negotiations now to get Israel to withdraw, God forbid, but unfortunately with Netanyahu, that probably will happen because Netanyahu always backs off and always surrenders and always withdraws in the end. But there are 4.5 million people in Lebanon. The only real solution, the only real way to stop all of this and to stop the endless killing of Jewish soldiers. Just today, another Jewish soldier was murdered. Jewish soldiers are being murdered almost daily there, all the time. There are ambushes, there are all types of things that the Muslim terrorists do to massacre Jewish soldiers. And we're losing Jewish soldiers all the time, our heroic Jewish soldiers. And one Jewish soldier, by the way, the life of one Jewish soldier is worth more than the lives of all the Lebanese put together. The life of one Jewish soldier is worth more than the lives of all the Gazans put together. Now, 4.5 million people live in Lebanon. And you may say, well, you got 4.5 million people. Then you're not going to get 4.5 million people. You're going to get to leave a country? Anyone who says that doesn't understand the Middle East. They are a nation of nomads. The Arabs are a nomadic people. They like to immigrate. They like to leave. There are 10 million Lebanese in Brazil. There are 3 million Lebanese in Argentina. There are 2 million Lebanese in Colombia, just to give you some examples. 80% of the people who call themselves Lebanese or who came from Lebanon don't live in Lebanon anymore. 80% have left the country. 80%. At least 16 million Lebanese. At least 16 million, and the estimates are that there's more than that actually. But I'm giving you a conservative estimate. At least 16 million Lebanese live outside of Lebanon. So at least 80% of the Lebanese don't live in Lebanon. They've already left. The 20% that's left would like to also join them. They'd also like to leave. And there are many third world countries and Islamic countries and other places where we can find a place for them to live. Point is, they've got to get out of there because they're murdering Jews and they're endangering Jewish lives and they're forcing Israel to literally give up. The whole northern part of the state of Israel is being ravaged by this endless barrage of missiles that are coming from the north. Can you imagine if the whole northern United States was being ravaged by endless missiles day and night? And let's put the numbers in the same proportion. Israel's only a country of 7 million Jews. America has over 330 million people. Can you imagine if millions and millions of Americans, actually, in this case, it would be tens of millions of Americans were displaced from their homes and became like refugees in their own country. That's what's happened to the people of Israel because of this terrorism from Lebanon. So the only way to solve this problem is to get the Lebanese out. Having the Israeli army in southern Lebanon, it is better than not having them there, but it's not a solution as long as we have the Muslims still living in southern Lebanon. Jewish soldiers are going to face death and destruction and terrorism, God forbid, and the danger of missiles being fired into Israel will continue to exist. There are only 150,000 Lebanese who live up to the Litani River. Israel now is in Lebanon up to the Litani River. Only 150,000 people there. We can't get 150,000 of these Muslims to leave, of these Arabs to leave. 150,000. 16 million have left. We can't get 150,000 more to leave? Come on. And by the way, I speak sometimes to Lebanese who have left, and they still have family in Lebanon, and they tell me everybody wants to leave. Nobody wants to live in that hellhole. It's hell on earth. Complete hell. And so why not have a program to get the Arabs to leave? And then have Israel move in. Lebanon is part of Eretz Yisrael. It's part of the land of Israel, according to the Bible. This is part of the historic land of Israel that God gave to the Jewish people as an eternal covenant. Have the Israeli army move in and have Jewish settling there, Jewish settlements there, and Jews living there. And there are no Arabs there anymore. They're gone. If some of the Arab Christians want to stay, I think most of the Christians would also want to leave. But if some of the Arab Christians want to stay, they can stay, because they're not involved with Hezbollah. They're not involved with terrorism against Israel, the Arab Christian minority. So if they want to stay, they could stay. But the Muslims certainly have got to go. The Muslim majority there, they've got to go. And they want to go. We're just helping them do what they want to go. Again, as I've said, over 80% of them have already left on their own without any help. So this is something that has to be done and that should be done. And that only a true right-wing leader in Israel, like Moshe Feiglin from the Zehut Party, or a Kahanist leader, a leader with the vision of the Hilltop youth and of the other Jews, the heroic Jews that are in Israel, if a leader of this stature, of this nature, took over in Israel, this is what would happen. And Israel's northern danger, the northern existential threat to Israel, would be eliminated, and Israel would expand her borders northward, and Lebanon would become part of Israel, or at the very least, southern Lebanon would become part of Israel, at the very least. And Israel would be much more secure, much more secure. But we can't get that when we have the leaders that we have now. Now, I've given you some statistics and some facts on how 16 million Lebanese have already left. 80%, at least 80% of the Lebanese don't live in Lebanon anymore. How obvious it is that this is a group of people that want to leave, that is prone to leave, if we just assist them. Do you hear this from anyone else? Does AIPAC tell you this? Would AIPAC ever say this? AIPAC is supposed to be the Jewish lobby, so-called. Okay, they are the worst organization for Israel. They cause more damage to Israel than all of our external enemies. And they support, by the way, the creation of a so-called Palestinian terrorist state, which would be national suicide for Israel. I say so-called Palestinian because there's no such thing as a Palestinian people. Never was, never will be. But AIPAC, of course, and Netanyahu and the Israeli leaders and the Jewish leaders who are always crawling on their bellies before our enemies, they recognize a Palestinian people, Lebanese people. They recognize everything except the rights of their own people. This has got to change. You can help change this through J.T.F. You can help change it so that the day will come when, instead of the horrible, appeasing, cowardly, treacherous leaders in organizations like AIPAC, instead of them, we'll have leaders like the leaders you see in J.T.F. and like the heroic Hilltop youth, and political leaders like Moshe Feiglin and the Zehut Party. Instead, this would be representing the Jewish people. What a better world this would be. It would be better for Israel. It would be better for the Jewish people. It would be better for America. It would be better for the world. Let me give you a chance now to support the heroic Hilltop youth, because they're in a lot of trouble now. They've been expanding their movement, and that has caused panic. Instead of saying, thank God, these people are forcing the Arabs who want to destroy us, the Arab terrorists, forcing the Arab terrorists back in Judea and Samaria. And they are. The Arab terrorists are in retreat in Judea and Samaria. Tens of thousands have left the Middle East because of the Hilltop youth. The Hilltop youth are winning. That the Israeli establishment doesn't like. No. And Donald Trump doesn't like it. Donald Trump says we can't have a peace plan this way. That's not peace plan. Anyway, so 68 times this year, and we're going to speak about this, God willing, on future videos. 68 times this year so far, Hilltop youth communities have been destroyed by the Netanyahu government. 68 times this year. I mean, what would you do if you had a home and someone destroyed your home 68 times? Would you go back and build it a 69th time? That's what the Hilltop youth do. They go back and they never leave and they never surrender. And because of that, there are more of them there than there were before the destruction started. And their communities are expanding and the Arabs are still being pushed back, despite the fact that they're under constant attack from this phony Israeli government. But we got to support them. We have to support them because there's a great danger that the Israeli government and even if the Israeli government doesn't accept the Palestinian state, that unilaterally such a state will be accepted and recognized by the United States and by the world. This is coming. This is coming, God forbid, unless we move quickly to support the Hilltop youth. The Hilltop youth are our only hope for saving us from this nightmare. Here's how you support the heroic Hilltop youth. If you truly care about Israel, if you truly love Israel, Jews and righteous Gentiles, here's how you support the heroic Hilltop youth. You go to our Hebrew main page, hayamin.org, and on our Hebrew main page, the page is in Hebrew, but on top there's a donate button in English. You click on the donate button in English, and you can easily and conveniently donate, in several minutes, easily and conveniently donate and help the heroic Hilltop youth. You can make recurring monthly donations, or you can make one-time donations, you could do both. That's supporting them online, very important. If you don't want to do it online, if you prefer to do it through the regular mail, you just send checks and money orders to the J.T.F. P.O. Box. And the J.T.F. P.O. Box is J.T.F. P.O. Box 650327, Fresh Meadows, New York 11365. And yes, you should leave J.T.F. in your will to make sure that when you leave this world, you're leaving this world a better place. You're helping the heroic Hilltop youth. 100% of J.T.F.'s budget goes to help the heroic Hilltop youth. Someday, Israel will liberate all the land from the Nile to the Euphrates. All the lands of the Bible that God promises to the Jewish people will be in the hands of the Jewish people someday. And then the world will finally be a world where we'll see final redemption. But we've got to work for that. We've got to do the right thing and stand up for justice and righteousness and truth. We're going to win in the end, but we want to avoid unnecessary suffering and sacrifice and death and bloodshed. We want to avoid those things. We want to avoid those things on the path to victory, on the path to redemption, which inevitably will come. But we have to bring it faster and less painfully. That's our task in this world. That's why we were put into this world. For J.T.F. until next week, this is Chaim Ben Pesach. Shalom.